Did you know how scary space actually is? Before we jump in, do me a favor. Subscribe, share this with a friend who loves space, and comment the one fact that freaks you out the most. Because this gets dark fast. On February 7, 1984, about 317 miles above Earth, astronaut Bruce McCandless did something that looks like science fiction even today. He pushed away from the space shuttle and kept going. No rope, no tether. Just a human being floating in open space, trusting a jetpack and a checklist. Neil Armstrong took a small step on the moon. McCandless took a step into what your brain isn't built to understand: pure nothingness. Because space isn't just big, it's big in the way it breaks your sense of safety. On Earth, even when you're alone, you still have air, sound, warmth, and gravity reminding you that you belong here. In space, there is no here. There's only out in every direction, forever. It's a kind of emptiness so complete it feels like an ancient horror story. Not because there's a monster, but because the void itself is the monster. And what makes it worse? The universe isn't just empty. It's also filled with structures so massive they feel unreal. Clusters of galaxies, cosmic filaments, and regions where gravity gets so intense that the normal rules of physics begin to blur. But when you look up from your backyard, you don't see any of that. You see a few stars. The rest is hidden like a silent ocean at night, stretching beyond the horizon. That's the first fear. Not that space is violent, but that it's indifferent. We've spent our whole history staring into it. We navigated by it, built myths around it, and eventually invented telescopes that reached through the darkness and revealed worlds we didn't even know existed. And then we did the wildest thing of all. We climbed into machines and suits tiny bubbles of Earth and tried to step into the abyss. There's a word for the fear you're feeling right now: astrophobia. It sounds like fear of stars, but it's bigger than that. It's fear of space, celestial objects, and sometimes fear of what space makes you realize about yourself. If you've ever gone somewhere truly dark, no city glow, no streetlights, sand, you looked up and saw the Milky Way spilled across the sky like a river of light, you might understand it. Some people feel wonder. Others feel their stomach drop. Not because anything is attacking them, but because the scale feels wrong. Too large, too real. And here's the weird part. If you stare long enough, your brain can flip the perspective. You stop feeling like you're looking up. You feel like you're looking down, into a bottomless pit. Like the sky isn't a ceiling, it's a cliff edge. And the only thing stopping you from falling into that infinite void is gravity. That's not poetic. That's physics. And it can be genuinely unsettling because it reveals how fragile normal is. In space, that perspective becomes reality. There is no up. There is no down. There is only direction and distance and time. And if you drift, you don't fall. You just continue. Forever. No friction, no air, no sound to tell your instincts that you've gone too far. And what's the scariest number in this whole story? 5 miles. That's roughly how far a human can go away from breathable air before it becomes impossible to survive. 5 miles. 8 kilometers. You can walk that in about an hour. That's nothing. And everything beyond that, most of Earth, all of space, is a lethal environment. We like to say Earth is safe, but even Earth is only safe in a thin slice. Most of the planet is ocean. And even on land, huge areas are unlivable without technology. Heat, cold, storms, mountains, deserts. Earth can kill you in 1,000 ways. And yet, it's still the only place in the solar system where you can stand outside and breathe without a machine. Space takes that fact and turns it into a horror movie. Not a horror movie with jump scares. A horror movie where the villain is reality itself. So when someone says space is beautiful, they're right. But it's a terrifying kind of beautiful, because it's a reminder that life is rare, temporary, and always one mistake away from silence. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Imagine you could teleport right now without a suit. Just you and the raw environment. How long would you last on other worlds? Start with Mercury. You'd pass out in about 20 seconds because there's essentially no breathable atmosphere. And then it gets worse. On the sunlit side, temperatures can roast you. On the dark side, you freeze brutally. Mercury doesn't just try to kill you. Now Venus, people think of it as Earth's twin. That's the biggest lie in the solar system. Venus is a crushing hell. The atmospheric pressure is about 92 times Earth's, like being deep underwater, except the water is superheated air and acid clouds. You wouldn't have time to suffocate. You'd be cooked and crushed almost instantly. Mars sounds friendlier because we picture rovers and dusty landscapes. But Mars has only about 1% of Earth's air pressure, and almost none of it is oxygen. Your body wouldn't gently die. You'd pass out, and the pressure difference would do ugly things to your blood and tissues. Even a warm day on Mars is still a death sentence. Now, Jupiter. Here's the nightmare. There isn't a solid surface you can stand on. Jupiter is atmosphere stacked on atmosphere. If you fell in, you'd keep falling into thicker and thicker layers until the pressure became unimaginable. Somewhere down there, the physics turns strange. You don't survive. You become part of the planet. Saturn is similar. No real surface plus gases that would burn your lungs before the pressure finishes the job. Temperatures can drop so low that the cold doesn't just freeze, you can vitrify you. That means your tissues become glass-like. The phrase frozen solid doesn't even cover it. Your body stops being biological and starts being material. So here's the punchline. Earth is dangerous. It always has been. Space doesn't offer chances. Space offers extremes: vacuum, radiation, crushing pressure, and cold so deep it feels unreal. And that's why Bruce McCandless, drifting away from the shuttle, is one of the most terrifying images in human history. Because it shows the truth. In space, there is no margin. There is only survival. If space is scary, the scale is what makes it feel like cosmic horror. Here's how broken our instincts are. Sunlight takes about 8 minutes to reach Earth. That feels fast, right? Instant? But it's already telling you something terrifying, because that means even light needs time just to cross our neighborhood. Now go farther. Light takes hours to reach the outer edges of our solar system. And our nearest star system is more than 4 light-years away. That's not distance like across town. That's distance like across reality. And the numbers get worse. The Milky Way is about 100,000 light-years across, and we're not near the center. We're halfway out, drifting along with billions of other stars. Then you look beyond our galaxy. The closest big galaxy is Andromeda, about 2.5 million light-years away. Million? Not thousand. Million? Meaning, if you could travel at the speed of light, it would still take millions of years to get there. And then comes the part that truly breaks your brain. At the largest scales, the universe looks like a web. Filaments and voids. Immense rivers of galaxies, separated by regions of emptiness so vast you could fit entire clusters inside and still call it nothing. The observable universe is roughly 93 billion light-years across. And that word observable hides a secret. It doesn't even mean the whole thing. It means the part we can see. So ask yourself, in something that huge, how could Earth be special? That's the fear under the fear. The quiet panic that hits people when they realize we aren't the center of anything. We're a tiny island in an ocean that doesn't have shores. Which brings us to the most terrifying idea of all. Life. If life exists elsewhere, that's terrifying because it means we're not alone. Not alone can include threats we can't imagine. But if life doesn't exist elsewhere, that's terrifying too. Because then the universe is mostly empty, and we're a rare spark floating through the dark. Either way, the silence is loud. Space is huge, but time is worse. The universe is about 13.8 billion years old. That number is so large it becomes meaningless until you compare it to us. Human civilization, everything from pyramids to smartphones, is a blink. Even our entire species is a blink. And the average lifetime of a species on Earth is often measured in millions of years. So let's be generous. Let's pretend humanity lasts 10 million years. In the timeline of the universe, that's a line so thin you can barely draw it. And that's why we might never meet anyone, even if the universe is full of life. Because civilizations could rise and fall at different times, like ships passing in the night, except the night lasts billions of years. A species could conquer its solar system and vanish long before we even had eyes to look up. Another could appear a million years from now, when we're gone. Even if intelligent life is common, the windows might not overlap. So the universe could be full of life and still feel silent. That silence can make people reach for strange ideas. Like simulation theories, maybe reality only loads when we observe it. It sounds wild, but it comes from the same place, the human brain trying to cope with an incomprehensible scale. But there's a simpler explanation, and it's not comforting. We are early, or we are late, or we are brief. And the only certainty is that time keeps moving, which makes the next moment in this story hit harder. Because one photograph, one image captures the truth of our situation better than any equation. A picture taken from billions of kilometers away, a tiny dot in a beam of sunlight. A reminder that everything you love exists on something unbelievably small. On Valentine's Day, 1990, Voyager 1 was far beyond Neptune, drifting outward, leaving the familiar planets behind. And Carl Sagan convinced NASA to do something strange. Turn the spacecraft back and take one final photograph of Earth. Scientifically, it didn't matter. It wasn't going to discover a new planet or solve a mystery. But emotionally, it became one of the most important images ever captured. In that photo, Earth is not a globe. It's not a world. It's barely even a point. It's a faint cluster of blue pixels caught inside a scattered ray of sunlight. The pale blue dot. And the reason it's scary isn't because it threatens us. It's scary because it tells the truth. Every person you've ever loved. Every city, every war, every celebration, every heartbreak. Every dream you've carried. Every story humanity ever told itself. All of it happened on that speck. From that distance, our arguments look ridiculous. Our hatred looks pointless. Our pride looks like a costume. The universe doesn't validate our drama. It doesn't judge it either. It simply continues. And that's the twist and the fear. Space is terrifying because it makes you feel small. But it's also beautiful because it makes you realize what matters. If we are alone, then kindness matters more than ever. If we are not alone, then representing the best of humanity matters more than ever. Either way, the pale blue dot doesn't just humble you. It gives you a responsibility to treat each other better because we don't have a backup world ready to catch us if we fall. So yes, space is scary. Not only because it can kill you in seconds, but because it forces you to look at humanity from far enough away to see it clearly. There's a quote that sums up the fear perfectly. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Because both answers change what it means to be human. If we're not alone, then the universe might be teeming with life civilizations, ecosystems, intelligence older than our species. That sounds exciting, till you remember the distances, the energy, the resources, and the reality of survival. The cosmos would become a place with unknown neighbors, unknown motives, and unknown capabilities. Not a friendly neighborhood, a wilderness. But if we are alone, then the universe becomes something even colder. A place built for everything except us. An infinite stage with no audience. And the idea that all of this exists, billions of galaxies, trillions of planets only for one tiny world to be alive, feels almost absurd, like a giant house with one candle burning in a single room. That candle is us. And suddenly, the fear becomes personal, because it means we are not protected by anything. No cosmic rescue, no someone out there to step in if we fail. We're on our own. This is where space stops being a science topic and becomes an existential one. Because the true terror isn't a monster hiding in the dark. The true terror is realizing that the dark doesn't need monsters. The dark is enough. And yet, we still look up. We still build telescopes. We still launch probes. We still dream about living on other worlds. Because we're wired for curiosity, even when curiosity hurts. Maybe that's our best trait. Or maybe that's the flaw that gets every intelligent species in the end. And that leads to one of the most unsettling ideas in modern science, the Great Filter. The Great Filter suggests that life might be common, but intelligent civilizations don't last. Something stops them. A barrier. A wall. Either before intelligence, like the jump from single-cell to complex life, or after intelligence, like self-destruction, cosmic disasters, or something we can't even imagine. If the Great Filter is behind us, we're rare and lucky. If it's ahead of us, we're already on a countdown. And that thought, more than black holes, more than aliens, might be the scariest space fact of all. So, did you know how scary space actually is? It's scary because it's lethal. It's scary because it's silent. It's scary because it's vast beyond any human instinct. But it's also scary for a reason nobody expects, because it calls to us anyway. Even after everything, after realizing we can't breathe out there, after learning how thin the line is between life and vacuum, after staring at distances measured in millions of light years, we still design telescopes. We still design telescopes. We still point our machines into the abyss and ask, what's out there? That pull has a name. People call it the call of the void, the strange urge to stare over an edge and imagine stepping off. But in space, we don't just imagine it. We plan it. We budget it. We train for it. We turn the void into a destination. And maybe that's the most human thing about us. Because the universe doesn't promise meaning. It doesn't promise safety. It doesn't promise we'll last. But it does offer possibility. New worlds, new understanding. New chances to outgrow the mistakes that end civilizations before they ever get far enough to leave their cradle. Maybe we do have a time limit. Or maybe we're the rare species that learns just fast enough. Either way, right now, we're here. On a tiny oasis of air and water and warmth wrapped around a small rock, drifting through an ocean of darkness. And against that darkness, we only have one real weapon: each other. If this video made you feel something: wonder, fear, I'll then do 3 things for me before you go. Subscribe for more cosmic stories. Share this with someone who loves space and comment below. What is the scariest part of space to you? Is it the emptiness, the scale, the idea of aliens, or the idea of none? I'll be reading the comments. And if you want another video like this, darker, deeper, even more mind-bending, tell me what topic you want next. Until next time, look up, stay curious, and stay safe.